All right, let's dive right into this explainer. We all think of butterflies as these delicate, super colorful, almost fragile little insects that just kind of flutter past us on a sunny day. But what if I told you that beneath that pretty, harmless exterior is a creature that is secretly bizarre, incredibly complex, and equipped with what I can honestly only describe as alien superpowers? Well, let's take a closer look at the truly brilliant butterfly. So, to kick things off, let me start by asking you a question that might sound a little, well, ridiculous at first. What beautiful animal tastes with its feet and absolutely loves to feast on rotting fruit? It's a pretty stark contrast, right? I mean, we associate beauty with elegance, but nature has a really funny way of mixing the spectacular with the slightly gross. Yep, you guessed it, it's the butterfly. No way, right? They literally taste with their feet. See, butterflies don't have noses like you and I do. Instead, they rely on a totally different biological trick to interact with their world. They actually taste and smell their food using their legs and their feet. Just imagine landing on your dinner and instantly knowing exactly what it tastes like just by standing on it. And actually, speaking of dinner, while we always picture butterflies delicately sipping nectar from a fresh, pretty daisy, their actual diet can be super weird. In fact, if you look at butterflies down in the tropics, they actually prefer to feed on rotting fruit way more than fresh fruit. Why? Well, because decaying fruit is just packed with mushy, sugary juices that are incredibly easy for them to slurp up. And when they're not chowing down on old fruit, they also gather together to drink essential minerals right out of muddy puddles. But here's the cool part. When they're all gathered there like that, they form something with one of the most beautifully surprising names in the entire animal kingdom. A group of butterflies is officially called a kaleidoscope. I mean, what a perfectly fitting word for a giant splash of moving colors, right? Okay, let's test your knowledge again as we pivot into their incredible sensory superpowers. True or false, butterflies use their ears to hear. We already know they don't have noses, but surely they have ears to hear a predator sneaking up on them, right? Take a quick second to think about it. And it's completely false. Butterflies actually have no ears whatsoever. They are totally deaf in the traditional sense. Instead, they rely purely on these tiny little body hairs to sense shifts and movements in the air around them. If a bird swoops in, the butterfly doesn't hear a chirp, it physically feels the vibration of the air being pushed toward it, and boom, that's its cue to escape. Now take a really close look at a butterfly's face. Notice those massive dome-like structures? Those are its eyes, but they are absolutely nothing like human eyes. Their large eyes are actually compound eyes, meaning they're made up of hundreds of tiny individual lenses. Because of this, they can't actually see the world in sharp, fine detail, but instead, those hundreds of lenses act as the ultimate motion detector, picking up basic shapes, colors, and the absolute slightest movement from every direction instantly. And this brings us to another wild superpower, how a butterfly actually sees the world. Take a standard red flower, exactly like this one, as it appears to our human eyes. It's pretty, it's bright, it's a solid color. But to a butterfly, this flower looks entirely different. Boom! Here is that exact same flower, but viewed through the lens of ultraviolet light. Butterflies have the incredible superpower of UV vision. They can see an entire spectrum of light that is completely invisible to us. Because of this, flowers often reveal these hidden patterns, almost like glowing neon landing pads that point the butterfly directly to the nectar. So yeah, to a butterfly, the world is vividly, wonderfully alien. So, alongside that intense UV vision, they still need a way to navigate the chemical signals of the world. Remember earlier when I said they don't have noses? Well, on top of tasting with their feet, they use those two long feelers right on top of their head, their antennae, to literally sniff out food sources and locate friendly butterflies from miles away. Now check out this bizarre, tightly coiled structure. This is essentially the butterfly's mouth. When they finally land on that glowing UV-lit flower or that pile of mushy, rotting fruit, they don't take a bite out of it. Instead, they uncurl this incredible appendage to suck up their liquid meal. The official science vocabulary word for this alien-looking appendage is the proboscis. But really, just think of the proboscis as a butterfly's tongue, one that uncurls and works exactly like a long, super flexible drinking straw. It's just a highly specialized tool, totally perfect for reaching deep into flowers to suck out all that nectar and fruit juice. All right, before we go any further into how they look, let's just quickly ground ourselves in their basic biology. Despite looking like pure magic, they are, at the end of the day, insects. And like all insects, their anatomy is strictly divided into three main body parts:
You've got the head, the thoracic, which is the middle section, and the abdomen, or the tail end. They also have 6 legs, and crucially here, 4 wings, not 2.
And honestly, it's those 4 wings that are probably the most jaw-dropping part of the butterfly. When you zoom in incredibly close on a wing, you realize it is not just a solid painted sheet of color. The wings are actually covered in thousands of tiny overlapping scales. It's kind of like looking at the shingles on a roof. It is these microscopic scales that reflect the light and create those stunning, vibrant colors and patterns we see. Which brings up a really crucial question. Why put so much energy into making these brightly colored scales in the first place? Well, they serve a vital dual purpose out in the wild. First, the bright flashy colors act like a giant billboard to attract other butterflies for mating. But secondly, and honestly just as importantly, those vibrant reds, blues, and oranges act as a stark warning sign to predators. Because in the animal kingdom, bright colors usually scream, "Stop right there, I am highly poisonous."
Let's challenge you with one more quick trivia question about those wing patterns. You know how some butterflies have those large, distinct circles on their wings that look exactly like eyes? Well, true or false, are these eye spots meant to attract predators? Nope, totally false. Notice the prominent eye spots right here. If a hungry bird is looking for a quick snack, suddenly seeing a giant pair of staring eyes makes the butterfly look like a much larger, way more dangerous animal, like an owl. So rather than drawing predators in, these eye spots exist purely to terrify them and scare them off. It is quite literally a brilliant optical illusion.
Okay, let's see how all of this builds into their final and definitely most famous trick, their incredible life cycle. A butterfly goes through 4 completely distinct stages of life. They start out as a tiny egg, hatch into a crawling caterpillar, transform into a stationary pupa, and then finally they emerge as the flying adult butterfly we all recognize.
That second stage, the caterpillar stage, is basically just about one thing: eating. After hatching, a caterpillar eats almost constantly. Honestly, they eat so much and grow so phenomenally fast that they continuously have to shed their skin because it just gets too tight. Here is a mind-blowing stat for you. During this stage, a caterpillar can increase its size more than 3,000 times from when it was born. That's just wild. So, after about 2 straight weeks of this non-stop binge eating, the caterpillar is finally ready for the next phase. It stops eating, finds a nice, safe, sheltered spot, and becomes a pupa. Now, this specific pupa stage for a butterfly is called a chrysalis. This tough outer shell completely protects the caterpillar, while its entire body essentially dissolves and rebuilds itself through metamorphosis.
And finally, the adult butterfly emerges, completely transformed and ready to take to the skies. Let's do a rapid-fire wrap-up with the question about their flying abilities. Take a guess here. How fast do you think a skipper butterfly, which is one of the fastest species out there, can actually fly? Are we talking 10 kilometers per hour, 30 kilometers per hour, or a whopping 60 kilometers per hour? The answer is 60. Yes, 60 kilometers per hour. I mean, that is incredibly fast for an insect that looks so completely delicate. They aren't just floating aimlessly on the breeze like we think. When they really need to, some of these creatures are absolutely rocketing through the air. And really, because of all these incredible biological adaptations, their sheer speed, their sensory superpowers, their brilliant warning colors, butterflies are a phenomenally successful species. In fact, they are found absolutely everywhere on Earth. Literally, the only place on the entire planet where you won't find a butterfly is the freezing, harsh environment of the Antarctic. Other than that, they have completely conquered the globe.
So, let's summarize what we've covered in today's explainer. They see in an invisible UV light, they drink their meals through a coiled straw, they taste their food just by walking on it, and they navigate the world without noses or ears. When you put all of those bizarre traits together, you really have to ask yourself, are butterflies actually the most beautiful aliens on Earth? I don't know about you, but the next time a kaleidoscope of them flutters by, I guarantee I'll never look at them exactly the same way again. Thanks so much for learning with us today.